I graduated from university as basically a hardware engineer, specializing in filter design. I ended up getting recruited by a modem company, and my boss in the modem company was an attendee of CCITT meetings in those days. We used to get together at lunch and play bridge, and I was pretty good at bridge, so he figured I'm a good strategist. So he got me interested and dragged me out to a CCITT meeting. That was back around 1980 or so, and developed from there. I started I think it was called Study Group 16 at the time, with a voice band modem work. We were doing the first echo canceling modem, V32, 9600 bits per second. We've come a long way since then. After that, I started volunteering for some responsible positions like editorships and so on. And this is the way you get into, you put yourself into the position to be known and recognized by the group, and then other positions are offered to you. So after that work was done, with my company, I was also involved in the U.S. in the U.S. Modem Working Party, and I became chairman of their committee responsible for modems, and they, of course, input to CCITT. And it was an interesting time when the 56K modem, the PCM modem, came along, and that work went through the U.S. committee and then came into CCITT. And I was asked if I would be the rapporteur for that work. So that was a very interesting project because there were two different camps really opposing each other, and it was very difficult to reach consensus on a couple of the key issues. And I rather developed some interesting techniques to help reach consensus. One of them we still use today occasionally is the secret indicative pole. I discovered at the time that one of the camps involved in the 56K modem, they had product in the field already, and they had customers who were contracted to attend the meeting and support their position. But after so many meetings of debate, it became evident that we're not getting anywhere and we need to reach consensus and get a standard done. So once I discovered that they were under contract to support the position, I came up with the idea of the secret indicative pole, which allowed the members to express what they really felt, not what they were obliged to say contractually. And using that method, we did reach consensus, and a very good standard was developed from it. It was the V90 modem. It was around that time, maybe around in the 1990s, let's say, that work started to move into, I guess it was ITU-T by then, for DSL, starting with ADSL. And many of the technical members that were involved in the voice band modem work moved to Study Group 15 and started working on DSL. That DSL work had originated in the US in T1 E1.4 and then got developed more here in ITU-T. So I took on some positions in that group. There was one standard for being able to initialize which version of modem you want to operate with, a standard called V8 BIS. Actually, no, sorry. The V8 BIS was back in the early days of the voice band modems. We had also G.994.1, which was the standard for initialization of the DSL. So you get different flavors of DSL. And so I was responsible for that. I was a rapporteur of that question. This was all in question 4 of Study Group 15. And we had several associate rapporteurs. I was one of the associate rapporteurs. Eventually, then I was given the responsibility for VDSL2, another big standard in the DSL space. So now we're talking 30, 40 megabits per second, I suppose, data transfers easily. When we were still part of question 4, we had questions 4A, B, and C, and the home networking work started in question 4 as question 4B. later got separated out into question 3. And so I became the rapporteur of question 3. So over the years, we've developed the G.HN family of standards, VLC standards, many others, and the work continues. In the last few years, as I approach retirement, I've been saying I'm going to retire for several years, I brought in another associate rapporteur. So we had 2 associate rapporteurs, one that was going to become the rapporteur when I retire, and the second was going to continue as the associate rapporteur. And they're continuing now. They're very well trained and they're doing an excellent job. So that's, in a nutshell, I guess, the work I've been doing. Oh, I forgot to mention one other thing. I was also tasked several years ago to be the chair of a focus group on smart grid, which took me to China and Korea and Japan. Those are the countries that were most active in the work at that time. That lasted about 2 years, that work, and was documented on the ITU sites. I guess first I should say, I started out as a hardware development engineer, and I could have followed a career where I just sat in my cubicle or office doing design work for the rest of my career. That would have been fine. But when I got involved in the CCITT and ITU, it really opened up a new world. It expanded my horizon because over the years, I have, in my work, been able to know and work with some of the leading experts in the world on information theory and communication theory. And it's an excellent networking organization. If you ever need to move from one company to another, you know everybody in the industry, and they know you. And I've been with many companies over the years. I started out with Motorola Codex, with voice band modem work and early DSL work, almost 20 years with Motorola. And then a short stint with Conexant Mindspeed, then Centillium Communications. And that work took me to Japan a lot because they were doing a particular variant of VDSL that the Japanese market was interested in. After Centillium, I moved on to Texas Instruments. Texas Instruments, that group in TI, was bought by Infineon, so I then was with Infineon. After that, Infineon sold that division to become Lantique. And then after the work on Lantique, I joined Huawei, and I've been with Huawei for the last 12 years at least. I don't remember exactly. Now, what was the question again? The question was, what's the impact on my life? First off, I probably wouldn't have met my wife if I wasn't in ITUT. So that's a major impact on its own. And I think that, they say that play is work that you enjoy. So I've been playing for 45 years in CCIT and ITU. I just love this work. I mean, the fact that I'm at 76 this year and still interested and still doing this work says something about the level of interest and the enjoyment in all this. You get to meet many people, you make many new friends for life. And it's just such a eye-opening experience compared to just working in an office. So if you're interested in standards work, I would highly recommend this kind of work.